Wow, thank you, Babson, for that wonderful beat. And trust me, I know one way or the other before the end of the show, probably we're going to see that duet between you and Thelma, because Thelma is just vibing to every beat of that sound. Welcome back to the studios of Weekend Deal. And today on the show, it's all about the realities of big and small homes in Nigeria. But let's take this background there. The Nigerian dream home, what is it like for you? Let's join the NTA Lagos for this bit, and when we come back, we get to meet our guests.
Across many Nigerian communities, the size of a house often determines how success is perceived.
Welcome to our 501 square meter, 4-bedroom apartment with 2 boys' quarters.
Talking about living big, the value system in the society, like I said, has changed. So people now, in trying to focus more on themselves, the kind of buildings that they want to have would reflect their social status. So they want something that will reflect that I'm a big man, someone that has made it. So because we define success now by material possession.
Over time, we've seen, a lot of self-centered approaches to these aggrandizements. You build a big house, you put out so many photographs of luxury on social media, and it's locked up to just your nuclear family.
This has even gone digital. With the rise of social media, these expectations have intensified. People now compare themselves with what they see online, often without considering financial realities. In some cases, behind the grand designs are loans, stalled projects, and silent regrets.
When you hear celebrities or wealthy people putting pictures of their buildings online and even flaunting the amounts, it costs them to build these buildings. They aspire to certain honors, they aspire to certain status perception from the population.
That pressure is on the people to make it big economically and manifest it, show it. They tell you that if you've got it, flaunt it.
In urban centers like Lagos, land is expensive. Many city dwellers are now choosing smaller and efficient homes closer to work, one they can complete, maintain, and actually live in.
Though initially I was thinking of having something like what I used to say at Ikoyi, Lekki, Victoria Island. But here we are today, thank God.
Experts say the Nigerian dream home is evolving. Focus is gradually shifting from monuments of prestige to spaces of purpose, and many Nigerians are beginning to redefine success, not by the size of their homes, but by sustainability and comfort.
Thanks, Naomi. That package is our show opener today in terms of unveiling a very exciting package, talking about the realities of big and small homes. I've always learned that it's not the size of the man in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the match. In other words, it's not how big your home is that will determine how successful you will be in life. People start small and they grow rapidly and they escalate and touch millions of lives. But let's meet our guests today and talk even more as we hear from the experts. Let's meet, greet and welcome very warmly Pastor Anne Yetunde Obi. She's a counselor, an educator and a community advocate. She runs a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization as well. I will get to know more about that after we see her profile.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful, session on Weekend Deal today. All right, our next guest is builder Omale Peter Ame. He's a building production manager and project analyst. He belongs to several organizations within the real estate, sector. So let's get to meet him.
Okay, we warmly welcome you, Builder Omale. See your title, Builder. Okay, now, let us build together. My dear sister Patience often calls our sessions with experts master classes, and I have little doubt that today will be one of such. Homes are just more than the physical outlook that we see. Those are good homes build good lives. And we know that when people are comfortable in their homes, where they rest, where they eat, they can do amazing things in life. I introduced you first, my dear Pastor Anne. So let me start with you. You do a lot with women, children, special needs, people who have been orphaned. And, are you also very comfortable ensuring that they are well situated, the place where they rest their head, where they make their meals, and how they relate with people?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, there's very, because we are an NGO, it's not easy to be able to begin to help people stay well. But at least in whatever way they find themselves. As you said, home is very important. And a lot of people still have challenges about a good home. But the fact about a home is like, some of us have come to know that home is not just first the physical things in the home. Home is first in a kind of spiritual thing. Because you could be in a place where there's so much, but you are out of the place. But if you're in a place where there's love, you might not really bother that there's no this, there's no that. So when people with special needs and people with who are orphaned or vulnerable people, if they have homes where there's love, there's care, the things that we are human beings, not things. So if we're able to get them to those being first before the things, I think that's what we are more concerned about. Because we know it's not going to be easy to start housing people, but at least if you're able to house them in a place where there's love, where there's care, where there's the things that make for a better person, I think that's what we subscribe to a lot.
Interesting. Now, Builder Omale, I know in Nigeria our housing deficit runs into millions. So talking about 20 million housing deficit according to statistics. And I'm just curious what it would take in order to bridge this gap, especially as we are looking at the reality of big or small homes. I'm sure for a lot of low-income earners, the emphasis will be on the small house and ensuring that it is, it is very convenient for them, something that they can really manage.
Yeah, for housing, especially when we talk about housing deficit, which is one of the problems that we have today in the country. All the stakeholders in the built environment, including the government, we have to be deliberate about it. If we don't take that deliberate actions and plan and act accordingly, we may not be able to give ourselves and the Nigerian populace the kind of housing that they desire. So if you look at the hierarchy of needs, shelter comes third. And shelter in itself is primarily an enclosure that protects you from the adverse effects of weather and other security challenges that may come with weather and social lives around you. So, if we are looking at housing from that perspective, the primary reason why you need a shelter, and we start walking along that path, we might get it right. But then, if we leave it and start chasing other, let me put it like luxury, that is where we mix it. So, but in general terms, housing is, or shelter, let's use the word shelter, that is what a human desires first. Then you can start having other things. When you meet one step, you move to the next step. So, as rightly pointed out, the first thing a man desires in life is to start at a point and move to the next stage, like you said earlier. So that is the direction. And that's why if you look at in African and in Nigerian traditional architecture, which in some climes people are still living and they are comfortable with it. And if you juxtapose that with sustainability, they are even doing better than we that are claiming we are in the urban centers.
Okay.
I give you an example. Maybe you are traveling around the Benue axis. You see those thatch houses, and they are living very comfortably.
Happily.
Yes. If you...
Because it's communal.
Yes. If you go towards the northern, maybe northwest like that, you see the small Fulani colonies. Right? They are very comfortable in those. This is what housing, the traditional architecture, that's where it starts from. Before we can start talking of we want to use so material. But the basic is what they have. And it's protecting them from rain, sun, and all what have you.
And there's love in there too.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Builder Male. Earlier, when we started this show, we talked about mansions. Sometimes people will say, I want to go to 8, 10, 15. I know homes that even have 20. I had a childhood friend that their house was 3 floors, over 20 bedrooms. You know, they had dressing rooms as well. And we also said, just in case. But there are others who want apartments. They are desirous of small homes. But the long and short of it is that I don't know any Nigerian who is not desirous of owning their own home, be it in the urban or in the rural area. And we do know that more people own homes in the rural areas than in the urban areas, in the urban centers. It's our hope that many more will own homes wherever they choose to live and pursue their endeavors. And I think we can look at that in one direction. We use the word, this program, we tagged it big and small homes. You know, it's not houses. So we'll latch on exactly to how you opened your first discourse that, you know, it's not, home is where the heart is. It's not the size. It's what is coming together there. So even whether we have big or small, everyone wants a home where they can feel loved and wanted. Okay. There's PPP, there's African, there's a lot of things that have been put in place to ensure that more people own homes. Ma'am, I know that that may not be your main focus, but we do hear, according to research, that more people own homes in the north, in some western parts of Nigeria, you know, and a little in the south than other parts of Nigeria. What do you think is the reason why more people are renting than owning their own homes? I know finance comes into play and what we earn, but beyond that, are we missing something?
Yes, as they said, you know, owning a home must take a deliberate action, because it's not something that you have, it's not everybody that has the money somewhere. So when you are deliberate about it, because I discovered that there's some, as you said, some culture, I think among the Jebus, housing is like, owning a home is like a priority for a person. You cannot be an Ijebu person and keep renting. They have this culture. Then in the parts of the East, an Eastern man will not want to do some things if he hasn't bought a house yet. But you see, where the plan is not a deliberate one, and you just leave it to chance, and things that are left to chance will not really always just work out like that. So there must be a conscious effort, and when people don't, the resources might not be there, but if you make a conscious effort not to own your own house. I've had friends that they just told me that I've never lived in a rented apartment because I discovered that it was a deliberate thing, the decision they took. They found themselves. You might give an excuse that the money is not enough. I have not really had, but because they were deliberate, things just worked out. Because maybe some of the money some of us who rent houses are using to pay for rents. If you started, like as you said, if you came to Abuja and the first place you wanted to live is New Yanya, and you began to make plans to own a house from New Yanya, you know it's easy to be able to buy a plot there some years back and start something. But if your target is to live in the city, the money you are using to pay your rent will have bought land. So those who own homes, there must be a deliberate action to owning a home. Just like those abroad, it's the same kind of thing.
You must be intentional.
You must be intentional about it, that I'm tired of renting. But if you've always had this, if you are a family that you've never bothered, and when you don't make a conscious effort to doing that, because even the major things we do in life, there must be intentional bit about it that, I must do this. And they say where the mind goes, energy will flow. Energy flows where your mind goes. If your mind is not towards something, your energy will be very, will not move. But if your mind is persistent, that I don't tire to stay for a rented house, I must do something. And as a couple, you challenge each other. I see these people, let's start something. But if there's no deliberate action, because sometimes you're always just hoping that that big money will come, we walk into this estate, we buy a property. For some people, it works like that. But some others, it might not be, let's start with one, we have 100,000. Instead of using this 100,000 to buy something that we will not need, can we invest it in a plot of land?
And I know for some people, even owning a house or buying or building, for them, it doesn't really make economic sense. They rather invest that money to get more money. I don't know how they come about that. Perhaps you give us more, give light to that, thought much later in the show. But I also know that the federal government, through the Renewed Hope agenda, there is a housing scheme somewhere to help other people to, rent to own, different scheme in order to help people own their own houses. But we'll come to that after we must have taken this report from Sokoto, which focuses on the economics of owning a home.
For many residents in Sokoto, owning a home is not a single achievement. It is a long journey. A journey shaped by rising costs, limited income, and tough choices. The cost of building has steadily climbed. Cement, iron rods, sand, labor, everything costs more.
Simpler designs are less expensive compared with complex designs. So a very simple design, and of course you needed planning permits and approval. Then you need the building material itself.
What once could be completed within months now stretches into years, placing home ownership far beyond the reach of the average earner.
This is a regular side now. If you wanted to have a 2-bedroom to be standard, at least you have to make arrangement of that kind of to 15 million to 20 million.
Basically, if you want to put in a very simple self-content in Sokoto, you'll be talking about from 15 to 20 million naira. Then you're talking about a 2-bedroom bungalow. It will cost you up to 25 to 35 million. depending on the tests.
Mortgage loans remain out of reach for most. Strict banking conditions exclude many, especially those working in the informal sector, traders, artisans, daily earners. Without affordable financing, savings becomes the only option.
There are some criteria that are making things a bit difficult. Otherwise, if you are able to meet up with the criteria, funding from the Federal Mortgage Bank is not very difficult. And we encourage people to approach such facilities that are readily available.
People build when they can. A foundation today, one room tomorrow, a wall the next day, if God permits.
I started this building in 2024. That's 2 years back. At the time that I bought it, it cost me 850,000. For now, I think it will cost at least 2.5 because of the situation that we are. Things are rising. The time that I started this building, the blocks, I bought it as 295 naira. The sun, in 2024 that I started the building was 65,000. Now I bought it at 85,000 naira.
As inflation and transportation costs rise, dreams are adjusted, not abandoned. Construction happens in phases, with a start, pause, and a return again when the resources allow.
Before I reached to the round linter, so I stopped there before I bought the roads and the sand, the blocks again that I bought, and the cement.
If the funds are available readily, you can start and completion without breakage. But an average Nigerian, sometimes you have to depend on your salary, contributions.
Across Sokoto, unfinished houses tell deeply human stories, stories of patience, of sacrifice, and of resilience.
I would say I spent at least 3 million before I reach to this level that I am now. And the level that I am before I finish it, I think I need at least 3.5 million.
If am I going to be a build house now, all this aluminium, what I call it, I'm going to remove it. Exactly when I remove all this, when I told you are going to build your house less than 10 million naira.
We have the renewed hub housing projects of the federal government ongoing. Now, these are a kind of avenues provided for the citizens to acquire much cheaper housing, and then you can spread payment over time.
In Sokoto, phased building is not the delay of dreams. It is how dreams endure. It is how hope survives brick by brick.
That was quite in-depth from Sokoto, talking about the economics of building and therefore owning a house. When people have a good place to rest their head, there's no doubt they can thrive. While we were enjoying Sokoto's package, we were chatting with our guests behind the scene, and I got to know that, in fact, it's pretty obvious that Builder Omale built his house. I said, before you tell us about what goes into the intentionality of building, you have it in your mind, then you start. Tell us, you built your house, as in you used your hands. Did you have support?
There's no support. It's from my own earned money.
No, as in, I mean, you had other ladies and gentlemen join you in the physical building.
Okay.
It wasn't Builder Omale that built it by himself.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I think there's a misconception where you hear the title builder. A person or anybody in Nigeria that bears the title builder is someone who has gone to the tertiary institution to study building and is registered with the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria and also a member of the Nigerian Institute of Building. Which,
like we saw in your profile.
Yes, which I happen to be the immediate pastor, National Publicity Secretary. So, I coordinate activities of the tradesmen, the artisans. Yes, that is what I do. Not like when you hear the word builder, I am not the
actually use your
person
hands.
putting the bricks together or using the hammer, but the science of it is what I've studied, and so I bring the workmanship together and make them bring to reality what is on paper. That is.
So was that an advantage for you?
It is.
Okay.
It is, because my decisions that I will take in respect of what I want will be different from a layman's perspective. And so you realize that as a professional, when you are telling somebody, do you really need this? He will say, no, it's my money, I want it. Right? And some of those things, when you look at them critically, they are even risk factor to the home user, the house user. So there was an instance where somebody wanted a spiral stair, and he was so passionate about it. Then I called him for a meeting. We were in the building, and I said, sir, can you stand here? We stood. I said, imagine your grandchildren came on a holiday and they play, and somebody rolled down from that to this point. What would be the outcome? If there's no permanent injury, there might be loss of life. This is what you want to put your money into. You saw it somewhere, it's beautiful, it has been designed for you. But as a builder, we look at the health and safety aspects of structures. And so I was more particular about the health and safety of what he wants. And so when he saw the point I was bringing out, the dangers that are associated with that design, he had to step it down and said, okay, let's look for an alternative that works. So these are the issues, and that is why most times we have buildings, they are not functional. Because the right things or professionals were not brought to bear. You just saw something somewhere and you want it in your house, and most times a quack is called to come and replicate that thing without consulting a professional to get professional input. It could be that where you saw that thing, there are other parameters that were put in check, considered before that construction commenced, and you are seeing it as beautiful as it is. There are other things that could make it work. In your own case, if it's not there and you implement it, you are setting up there, it's already a risk to the users. So these are the issues. Then when you say when we're looking at intentionalities, I think in housing, especially in our climate in Nigeria, first of all, there are policies that have worked before now. We derailed, we can still realign back. In those days, I grew up in Kaduna. We have what is called the Shagari locus, if you are familiar with Kaduna very well. Then we have high costs. And when you look at those buildings, what do they want when those houses were built in the 70s and 80s? The basic of life. And these houses, if you go to Kaduna today, you go to High Coast, you go to Narai, you go to around the Banawa enclave, you see those houses, they are still working. And people are still there.
We don't have incidents of collapse.
No. Now, these actions were done deliberately by government. All the infrastructure, all the services that are needed to make those buildings, the people that will stay there were provided, and it worked. Today, we don't have such. And why is it so? Housing is not treated as an economic activity in Nigeria any longer, as a need that we all need house. What we look at is social housing. And so most times, like we're talking about the renewed hope. Some people went to represent Nigeria, they won trophies, they came back, they were gifted homes, right? that shouldn't be the model that we should be looking at. Our model should be that every Nigerian, as you are finishing or you are getting to the age of 18, you are entitled to a one-room apartment.
Okay, that for me, that is very ambitious, really, because I know government is saddled with series of responsibilities. And, you know, when you talk about economics of things, it is expected that the private sector also play a crucial, you know, part in all of this. Now, you talked about, behind the scenes rather, we talked about the different schools of thought regarding owning a home. Yeah. But before we get to that, Pastor, are people today pressured to, you know, build based on the societal, you know, anticipation or perception, or it's always down to the individual need? Because these days, if you go to, you know, maybe weddings or maybe unveiling of a house, and then you see people talking, is that all? This small house, you know, and all of that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think both things come to play. Some people want a house first because I just need a place first. And what will people say if I don't have my own? You know, how can I be at this level and I don't have a house? And whatever it takes, and after all, these people they're not more than me. And they have their own, so I must have mine. There are those who do that, and so that the people will not say that I'm a tenant. I'm a big guy. When I'm big, I should show that I'm big. And one of the evidence people want to show that they are big is to have a house that speaks. Because if you talk about house, the reason why some people are doing housing is not just for, as he said, the basic human need, because they are not going some extra, you know, being extravagant. You are not. It's no longer just for shelter. It's for show. For show, to let them know that
I don't arrive.
I do this now. That's the reason. So with that, it can push you to do things that many of us are looking for validation from people. And I think when you now say you have a house in a so and so sport, they know that you're not a small person.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you, Builder O'Malley. Our conversation is not over. Another break beckons on Weekend Deal. I know with the increasing amount we are paying for rent on a yearly basis, you know, it's time now more than ever before for many Nigerians to sit up and be intentional about owning the place where they lay their head. Weekend Deal takes a break. We'll be back. Please stay with us. That's a nice one, Babson in the house. Emmanuel Chukwu, a.k.a. Babson. Wow, so you're touching us in different places, and you're taking us way, way back, you know. Life is sweet. It may not be perfect, but it is good. You know, we need to traverse our nation to touch down in different areas to get a full picture of exactly the message we want to pass with accurate and on-time information. And it's time for Port Harcourt to tell us. Living large, living smart? Port Harcourt, take it from here.
The days when people were building, they had a lot of factors to go by in terms of location, finance, and sometimes extent of family.
In those days, we like to have big houses, but then it's reasonable because you have kids all around. But interestingly, as children grow, the role of the game, everything gets changing.
We used to say the number of children you might have, that's one thing. Another thing again is you'll be looking into how many. If you're getting old, do you have the energy, the strength to climb stairs?
Across many Nigerian cities, including Port Harcourt, owning a big house has long been seen as a symbol of success and wealth. Tall fences, multiple rooms, wide compounds,
But beyond the prestige, there's a deeper question to ask. Does owning a large home always translate to a high quality of life? As lifestyle change and family structures evolve, the conversation is shifting from size to functionality. A house is not just about how many rooms it has, but how those rooms support daily living, from maintenance to security, from utilities to emotional well-being. The realities of big and small homes are becoming more evident.
To run a big house, you spend a lot because even the diesel, the fuels, to make sure that the food is stocked and not spoiled. Even the maintenance of the roads and everything. The time your children are grown, need the girl child and in the same house with you. They go out to rent to their own house or to get their own apartment.
One thing is having a big house, another thing is keeping it habitable. Does it look good? The paints need to be repainted maybe once or twice a year. Another thing again is the bills. The electricity will come in. Sometimes we put solar systems and it costs a lot of money. If you have a generator, we all know the cost of diesel these days. It's difficult to run a diesel all night.
As you're getting older, the strength diminishes, and as such, you need assistance, and you have to think about staff that will maintain internals, maintain the externals, gardening, and finance is also an issue. Depending on the availability of funds, then you can carry out such repairs or such maintenance that is required.
Small homes, however, are redefining smart living. Every space is critically utilized, ensuring optimal and direct contribution to daily comfort and efficiency.
My 3 kids are in England now, so I got to stay alone. And I got to stay in a small place. What of the management? Over the weekend, I have people that come here and clean for me. During the week, I have another girl that comes and cook for me. So it just makes sense that the house is portable, adaptable, and useful, and it will not stress you.
For those who already own large houses, the focus is shifting from size to smart usage.
When you decide to build, I want you to also know that structure, one, the kids will be away. It's just you and your wife. These legs definitely will not be carrying you all the staircase. Do you need to make a bungalow? Or after a while, you need to even move out of the house to go to, or you find some smaller place to stay.
You see most of the houses like now, they consider putting rooms on the ground floor to enable the couples together, because there are times that they can no longer climb up to their bedrooms.
People convert their houses for other uses. They can lease it out partly or remodify it and lease part of it to other persons. You can use it as an office.
Whether big or small, the future of housing in Nigeria lies in intentional living, where homes serve people efficiently and meaningfully at every stage of life.
Larger or living smarter. Trust me, for an average Nigerian, the choice will always fall on the latter. And while the story was ongoing, builder Omale was sharing an experience with us where, you know, he had to advise a friend to be smart about his business, because you say it's been, you know, the project took him a very long time.
Yes.
Share with us.
Now, if you look at the rundown, these are the perception, what people have in mind before they go into building or owning a house or home for themselves. What they are looking at is societal validation, friends, peer group, pressures, and all what have you. But primarily, they are not looking at, they've not really done a need assessment as to why they desire to have a 2-bedroom or a 5-bedroom or a 10-bedroom duplex or mansion, as the case may be. Now, a case in question, this is a case study, live here in Abuja. An associate who was building, it took him so much time. So at a point in time, I had to intervene and ask, let's go and see what you are building. When we got there, I saw what he was building. It was so massive. Just for him and 2 children. So, and I said, no wonder this is taking you so much time to achieve. And I advised him, I said, look, within a short time from now, these children will be gone. And by God's grace, they're already in the university, they've left him. How would you want to use your retirement money to be maintaining this kind of house? Let's redesign. Let's change the concept of the living. That building that he wanted to live alone because they don't want to stay with any other person, we converted it. At the upper floor, we were able to get 2 units of 2 bedrooms, 1 unit of 3 bedroom on the ground floor, and another unit of 1 bedroom on the ground floor for him. So now the building is more functional, where he will stay, and there's an economic value addition. If you look at housing from that perspective, then you will be building to meet a particular need. Because some people will say, you are building, you build a house for your children, before you know they grow, they get to the university, some of them, they leave the country, they never return back. And when they are returning back, the housing concept would have changed from what you have desired and you thought they'll come back to. They may eventually either pull it down or they are not even interested in staying in that house because it's no longer trending. So today people are talking about smart homes and all what have you, where you talk and the door opens, you talk, the curtain shift, you talk, music come on, and you talk, the entire system shut down.
Can even come up from the kitchen and
so a child that comes, a tech child that comes back and wants that kind of building, and you as a father or parent, you have invested so much thinking you have done something for the child doesn't need that.
But what about some people who feel that owning a home or building a home it doesn't really make much economic sense?
Yes, there are matrices to it also. And we've done this comparative analysis also with one of my professional colleagues. By the time he finished building his house along the airport road here in Abuja, and we look at what went into the building, the first question he asked himself, how much time do I have to live in this house? How much time will my children also stay in this house? Are they willing to return back after I must have gone? And when we did the analysis and broke it down into days, hours, and year, and now put a price to if he were to be renting, at the end of the day, it doesn't make any
economic
difference.
sense.
At the end of the day. So you realize that you can spend so much thinking that you are pulling yourself out of rent, but indirectly, you are still renting.
Okay, we have a few messages here. Thank you for your expert analysis, Pastor Ann Yetunde Obi and our dear builder Omale. Good lessons we are learning from today's masterclass, talking about the realities of big and small homes. Note it, not houses, homes. You know, we say that the home is more than the walls and the doors. It's a place where you gain dignity, opportunity, and safety. Thank you for your messages. Someone says, my name is Peter from Kogi State. Weekend dealers, how you doing? My guest, how you doing?
We're doing
Are
great,
we dealing well?
We are dealing.
Sule, how's the deal?
Perfect.
So it said, my weekend dealers, how are you doing today? I do enjoy all your programs, and today is not different. I say more strength to you all. Okay, thank you so much. And someone here says again, I enjoy Weekend Deal every weekend. But do you take note of the title for today? The title today is about the realities of big and small homes, perception versus reality, social pressure, economic truths, and the emotion behind where and how we live. Share your experiences after this next package. Sule?
Yeah, and the next packet is coming from NTA Enugu, and it talks about land, space, and sustainability.
Living spaces and home size in the country is directly influenced by the land size and finance available to the developer or builder. Enugu, as the headquarters of the old eastern region, is home to a lot of people due to the planned nature of the city. Having the high class, middle class and low class areas which brought about orderliness and beautification of the city.
Enugu has a very good master plan. Like Independence Lot was built in a way that it is a low density area. But these days, town planners gives approval for 2-story building, 3-story building, thereby accommodating more persons.
I remember in those days, like we talked about the GRA, where we have the government reserved areas. It's a place you go and, take some soccer kind of refreshment. That's what informed the Polo Park that is in Enugu here. And then many people, or people that live there, have the opportunity of enjoying what we call the cool and branded air.
Today, there is a lot of discrepancies in the plot allocations following the Land Use Act.
The Land Use Act came in 1978, yeah, and it came in to address land challenges. And when it came in, it invested powers to the governors, that they are the ones in charge of every land. The problem with it is this. Government will come and take over a portion of land because they term it is overriding public interest. Now, they will not give you any compensation.
With the urbanization and sprouting of estates all over the city, major infrastructures like electricity, water, waste disposal are overburdened, not leaving out pollution.
Because when people are living more in more numbers, understand, the facilities there, assuming the transformer, like the what's it called, the water board or whatever, even the road, understand, will become more busier. The Sosakaway pit will become more filled up than ever, understand, especially the electricity, because each transformer has a capacity.
In Enugu today, buildings are now smaller with more occupants than what was obtainable some 10 to 20 years back. And this can also be attributed to the high cost of building materials and government policies.
These days, it is now for business, it's no longer for comfort. You can hardly see a bungalow in a separate compound for rent. Now, people hardly even build duplexes for commercial use. Rather, they prefer building more of 2 bedrooms for 1 bed, even hostels. And the hostel will be so small. The reason is this: we are now into more of profit making than having comfort.
A standard home should have all the amenities provided for it. But I know that because of finances and everybody, it's not the kind of home you afford that they can afford. So it has to do with your own financial base. So I think the answer is that it's your finance that will determine what the future home will look like.
The rising costs and changing values notwithstanding, the reality of the situation is that home to some individuals is a thing of affluence and aesthetic. To some, the smaller the better, while to others, it is all about the affordability.
Interesting package there, and good thing you are sending us your messages. I know you love Weekend Deal. We want your perception, we want your take on what we're discussing today. Okay, thank you for engaging us. Thank you, Chiri Martha, all the way from Enugu. It's great to have your take on our show today. She says Weekend Deal on NTA is one of my favorite shows. Small and big homes, that is a real case. So, okay, let me join you guys and look into it. Well, Chiri, we've been on it for quite a bit. What is your take thus far? Thank you for your message. Okay, my name is Sadiq from Osun State. My Weekend Dealers. Like that thing has caught on, they like it. He said, my Weekend Dealers, I'm sure you all are doing well because you look well. I always enjoy your program. Sadiq, what's your take on the realities on ground? Perception versus reality, big and small homes in Nigeria. Okay, we're talking behind the scenes. We've heard some human angle dimension from Builder Amali. Let's hear from Pastor and Obi. Okay, tell us, I know that most of your children are grown and out of the home now, but you did speak about a dream home. How close are you to making that a reality, Pastor?
Oh, we all start with, I think, the idea of a home first. It depends on the kind of home we grew up. That deficiency, we grew up in a place where everybody slept or maybe in one room, everyone.
Yes.
And you just think you need something, as you grow, you want something bigger. You don't want your children to stay in that.
Give them a bit more comfort.
Yeah, give them more comfort because you didn't have that comfort. And that's the drive. That anyhow, whatever it costs. So you want to make it big as soon as you are climbing the ladder of life. So initially growing up as I got married, I would say I'm one of the people that we were not too intentional about owning a home very fast. Because, okay, you're in ministry, you're trying to sort out this in ministry, you think ministry is more of a priority, building your ministry is stronger than having a home because you have a home and you don't have a ministry. So, because ministry is like my own priority. So we had a small home that we just like, okay, let's manage this one. Now with the children gone, and I have 3 children, 2 of them are not around, so I have only 1 at home now. So in the home we are planning now, it's not going to be, because I've now seen friends who have had big homes. A friend of ours in the UK had 6 children. And now, recently they had to sell their home. Because all the children, and she likes children, she has grandchildren. But she was like, okay, where they are staying is just too big. And they can't just keep that anymore. So they now had to it was like last week or so, she now said, okay, just got a home, they are now moving in. So you now find that kind of home. That's the kind of thing.
Are they going to rent now?
No. They sold that
to buy also.
They bought another
smaller one
now. That because all their children have their own homes. So what's the essence in her own house? She's one funny person that some time ago the husband and her had a problem, and the man said men move their wives out of house. If a man gets angry, he moves his wife out. Now in his own case, if he gets angry, he's the one who have to move out of the house because she has the whole space. Her wardrobe is like very massive, and so now when she now said this, I asked her, okay, what are you going to do with those stuff? She said they are in storage and all that. So I haven't seen those kind of people who had big homes and the homes now are now empty. So in what is going to, my plan now is not going to, I don't intend to have a home that is going to be, since I have just 3 children, maybe they come with, and there's never going to be a time we'll have all of us back. I was just thinking, my mother has 6 of us. For the past 39 years, or 36, 37 years, we've never been together, all of us.
The time.
All of us have not been together again.
Come to think of it, I know of another couple who, the wife actually advised the husband to say that it's not that he cannot afford to build a big house, but she is telling him that, do a smaller one so that we don't have people coming to stay with us.
Wow.
And then, you understand, so that they maintain that space as well.
It's very important because with our early state in town, I had a home that my children didn't even have a bedroom. We lived in a 3-bedroom flat. I had my mother. I had all these. At a point, I had about 6 or so people who are not my family members. You know, you're starting church and people want to help you do this. They want to, so they took over my home.
Wow.
I actually had I had those who, somebody got a job in Abuja. I was moving to Abuja. You have a place. So as some sleep in the sitting room. So we had the house filled with people. So looking now, I don't want a place more. I don't want more. In fact, I'm not too friendly with visitors. Because I just want somebody who will come in, you just greet me, you go. So because many people eventually who live in your house don't take responsibility. So there's no point. I haven't gone through this in life. People want free things. And because they've not, imbibed the attitude of taking responsibility, there are very few people who live in your house who are coming back and think that you need a loaf of bread.
They are conscious. That it's not their home.
Because it's not their home. And when people are used to not doing things, you give them free house, they don't even think you pay for electricity. They are living in your house. At least if you stay in somebody's house and at the end of the month, brother, take this, take by, you ask for the meter number, recharge this. If you have such people who are living in your house, you won't mind having them around.
Nice.
They are coming around and then, I see this bread for road. I bought for the house.
Good one.
But not that, okay, I saw bread when I was coming, but I didn't.
Then why are you here without the bread?
So when you have such people, and, as habits die, when people have formed habits of not taking responsibility, and if you give them a free house, they continue with that trend. So, but if you teach children to be responsible from the onset, if you have children who are already, if they earn 10,000 and, let me say, okay, 10,000 is small. Now, let's say the child earns 100,000. And you teach your child to be responsible. He will not think that spending 10,000 for the family or sending you in the house will be too much.
Interesting.
But if the child has inculcated the attitude, habit of spending 10,000 or 20,000 from that 100,000, if the child earns $1 million, he will take more responsibility.
He will do more.
But when you have a child who earns 500,000 and say, the money no do me, it will make 5 million, the money no go do one.
Exactly.
So we must learn, the people who live with us, I think part of us, some of us encourage such problems. You didn't give them responsibility. There are people in the UK now, if you live in the house, it is you will charge like this one. And people some parents have complained, but it's just teaching children to be responsible.
Okay.
Or those who live with you to be responsible. So that some people live in your house, if they want to eat stew, they must finish everything there. If they are going to drink beverage, it's not as if you don't want people to take something. You will empty there was a time you didn't even used to measure things in this country, Abi.
Yes.
You just buy things big in the house.
Don't tell me now measure things.
Okay, Pastor Ann Yetunde Obi, that's indeed another masterclass. That's another dimension of homing. Because of our extended family system in the African continent, we know that relatives and friends will often come. We always, on this show, we talk about to have a child is a privilege. So parents and guardians need to instill that sense of responsibility in children. That way, they can be in a home that is not theirs, but they'll be part of that family because they take ownership of that space. Those are the kind of children we are raising this generation, thankfully. So, aren't we?
Definitely.
Sure. Build our Mali, aren't we?
Yeah.
Mama, those are the kind of grandchildren we'll be boasting about in the next few days and months. You are watching Weekend Deal with thank you for your messages. We'll take them after we return from this second break on Weekend Deal. We are talking about the realities of big and small homes in our society today. Don't go away.
Thank you, Babson, for that sweet melodies. Trust me, we are enjoying your vibe in the studio. And let's go straight to the newspapers. Quite, series of headlines here. And we're starting with Sunday Vanguard. We'll go straight to the leading story. Ruthless bandits. How Nigeria ignores early warning signs pays dearly. Kurumin Wali Church abduction. Pressure mounts for immediate rescue. Crackdown on captors. Defense headquarters urges Patience says captives will be freed. Details of that on page 5. And on page 27, Mercy Aigbe's a testament of not giving up. That's what you will find there. Now we cross to the next paper. That is Leadership Sunday. We start with story just below the masthead. Mass abduction expert demands swift trial, harsh penalties as bandits seize traders in Kaduna. Konkoso NNPP fume over Kano governor's defection. Ex-governor describes January 23rd as World Day of Betrayal. Kano government warns supporters against insulting former minister. Details of that are on page 4. Now to the next paper, and that is The Punch. We start with the story just above the masthead. Second term, Fubara Kano governor battle uncertainty. Details of that are on page 3. Now, this is actually related to what we are discussing about in the studio. Inside the rotten estate of Western Nigeria's last premier. Of course, the mansion has been looted, not taken care of, and I hope something can be done about it. Perhaps converted to shelter for people who need it in that environment. Now to the leading story, 2027, ADC cracks down as obedience demand presidential ticket. Obi or nothing mindset threatening party's unity chances, says Abdullahi. We are only marketing our candidate obedient movement. Details of all this can be found on page 3. Now to the next paper, and that is The Nation. We start with the story just above the masthead. Forum of former legislators endorses Tinubu for second term. Tunji Ojo Barrow orders make case for president's re-election. Details of that on page 7. Now to the leading story, Ribadu, religious violence attack on Nigerian state, says protection of Christians, Muslims or others non-negotiable. Nigeria, US join forces against insecurity. Details, you can continue reading this story on page 4. Now, Kano government to supporters, don't insult Konkoso. Governor appoints Bokwana new political advisor. Details of that on page 6. Early rain. NIMED warns farmers against planting drinking rainwater. Details of that on page 2. Now to Sunday Sun. We go straight to the leading story, 2027 succession battle in states. Months to party primaries, silent conflict brewing in Ogun. Nasarawa, Borno, Lagos, or others. Chekwas Okore, governors defecting to APC may be unable to help Tinubu's 2027 ambition. I am still wondering how Southeast governors or others promising president votes will do it. Details of all this on pages 20 and 21. Now, my upbringing taught me not to shy away from standing out. This is coming from Nwandu, a jeweler. She's also the CEO of NTA Manari. Details of that are on page 3. And that is much we can take from the papers. Right now, let's join Godwin and Nakina for Sports Summit. Just before that, Thelma, yesterday...
I was just saying, I didn't hear you talk about Osimhen. What are you reading?
Okay, I was actually going to talk about Osimhen.
Yes,
yesterday, you missed it, really, but because we had the grand reception, for Osimhen in Turkey after the AFCON. You can tell that
deal. But in my mind and in my TV, Osimhen is 24/7. Up Osimhen!
Oh yeah, now Godwin and Nakina.
All call him the king of sport, Kole Solaja, former sports editor of the defunct Concord newspapers, former group sports editor of the Guardian newspaper. He's our guest on this edition of Sports Summit, all the way from Morocco. He's still in Morocco. Yes, I want to find out so much from him covering the African Nations Cup. My name is Godwin Nakina, Sports Summit on Weekend Deal. Welcome back. I did say we're going to Morocco. Yes, someone is still back in Morocco after the Nations Cup. King of Sport, Kole Solaja, is our guest. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports Summit on Weekend Deal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Godwin. Yeah, actually, I'm not back yet from Morocco. I'm still in Morocco, but hopefully in the next couple of hours, I should be back.
KS, as we call him, what were your takeaways from this Nations Cup that had in Morocco?
Yeah, my takeaway from this tournament is, there are many, but in summary, I just imagine the type of facilities, the infrastructure, the stadiums, the network of roads, and the mobilization of the crowd, the politeness of the average Moroccan, and the efficiency with which they deliver their duties are very, very amazing. I wish we can inculcate such structure, culture in Nigeria by not just having good facilities, good stadium, but also being able to maintain them.
Kole Solaja, were you satisfied, or are you satisfied with the Super Eagles' performance at the last Nations Cup in Morocco?
This is the best I have seen of our national team, the Super Eagles. Apart from the little in-house problems that they had, on the field, they are the best. In fact, most Moroccans are still saying that in reality, is the African Nations Cup in the FIFA ranking as the highest globally.
Now, Eric Shell, the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, should we keep him or let him go?
Of course, I believe we should retain Eric Sekushele, or Chel as he's called, because he has proven that given time and given the opportunity, he will manage the Nigerian team, and that he has really done.
Thank you so much, Kole Solaja, for joining us on this edition of Sports Summit on Weekend Deal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Godwin. It's always a pleasure being with you.
Eric Sekushele said he's in love with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but decision to stay or to go rests squarely on the shoulders of the Nigerian Football Federation. And the NFF has spoken very, very highly of this young man. That means he's here to stay. Thank you again for watching Sports Summit on Weekend Deal. My name is Godwin Enak, and I keep praying for Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
Many thanks, Godwin. I will just hurry over 2 messages and then we'll get the parting words from our guests. Shehu Muhammad from Basita in Kwara State says, I love Weekend Deal. I think the big home is best as we have large families where I come from. But one's income definitely will determine your final choice. I pray for good income for all responsible Nigerians. Someone said, I enjoyed Weekend Deal, especially today. It's enlightening me about what to build and how to build. I choose small and portable, and I hope many Nigerians will learn from the discussion today. God bless you all, and thank you. Finally, Cecilia from Abuja says, Weekend Deal is always very educative and rich. I never miss it. Thank you so much for the realities. You are speaking to us in real time, and we understand. Thank you. Nigerians now have time to consider, and then again reconsider, and to get expert hands when they want to build. Look for a good architect, one who knows what he's doing. Check his track record. And said Nigerian parents must train their children to be responsible patriots of our great country, Nigeria. I had to summarize this. Cecilia, thank you so much for your message. Our experts in the house, masterclass by excellence. Let's wrap up. We have the Renewable Hope Housing Project. Can you summarize that as you say, as we wind up?
Okay, the Renewed Hope Housing project is an intervention by this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the good thing about it is we have a professional manning that ministry, the Ministry of Housing, where we have architect Ahmed Dengiwa as the Minister of Housing, chairing and managing this on behalf of the President. The intervention is to see how Nigerians can key in and get houses for themselves. Being that we have a professional in that direction, in that light, overseeing activities of the housing for all that this administration has promised, we believe and it's not everything that is on the downside. It can always start from somewhere. And so for me as a person, and with the kind of people that even the minister has put as advisory and all what have you to help see, because there was a time we also on a visit with the minister, and he made sure that all professionals are brought on board to see that it's not just the passive kind of buildings and stuff like that this time around. Let it have a professional flair and touch. So we are appealing that, and we are still praying that this government will see to it that,
that's just the basic thing, to see to the end of it.
Each Nigerian should own a home someday.
Each Nigerian should own a home.
What are your final thoughts?
Yes. Okay, let's hear from Pastor Yetunde.
Well, there's need for all of us to put our hands on deck in owning a home. Because since it's not, they say if wishes were horses,
beggars will ride.
Every beggar will ride. So it's the same thing. So we must do something extraordinary. Because if you want to, although the structures might not be in your favor, but at least by the time you get started, let's begin to have areas where you can walk in and say, okay, I've just left school. What do I do to start my own home? So maybe if we start from our early graduates, because if you don't direct them, some of the money we used to buy jewelry or what's it called, our wigs,
yeah,
could be spent in investing in housing. I once met a lady who is into housing for women. She said she got into that field because she was once thrown out as a woman.
She saw the gap.
So she saw the gap. And now her target is to meet women. So instead of us putting our money in...
So the bottom line is to invest and be intentional about owning a home, which is very,
just
very
take
important.
This message quickly, please, because it also aligns with what you're saying. Abu Mohammed, my final message this morning, thank you for all that reached out to us. Abu Mohammed from Kogi State says, I love this program because you are intentional with what you teach us to do. They are practical, they are a reality. Now I know better how to manage my money. And don't forget PPP. Sule.
Well, thank you very much, Builder Omale. Thank you very much, Pastor Anne, for, gracing the studio. I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot, whether it's comfort you're looking for, peace of mind, luxury, whatever it is, the decision is yours. But certainly, it's good to own your own home and be comfortable in it. That's much we can take from the show today, or let me say from this side of the studio. We're crossing over to the other section of the studio to join Babson.